Chapter 2111. Congratulations, 2. Yi Qingtang remained silent, as if she could even reject Elder Hua. Yes. Elder Hua smiled and left the Temple of Paragon together with Yi Qingtang. They flew past the clouds. Yi Qingtang saw a huge gold palace in the sky. From afar, with the sunlight hitting the palace, it looked like it was adorned with gold. The six-winged fire phoenix floated around the surroundings of the palace. There were other flying creatures beside the six-winged fire phoenix, and they all surrounded the gold palace, and the environment was just like paradise. "This is the Sky Temple," Elder Hua said. Elder Hua then stopped outside the Sky Temple, walking in with Yi Qingtang. The entire palace had a gold interior, but it wasn't tacky at all. Lustrous lights shone in the palace, making it seem like a surreal place. Yi Qingtang saw a few people from the Temple of Paragon busy with something. They lowered their heads and concentrated on their work, with their backs facing Yi Qingtang and Elder Hua. They seemed to not have noticed their arrival. However, Yi Qingtang noticed that they seemed to be avoiding her. Whenever they felt her gaze, they would turn around. They didn't dare look at her at all. Elder Hua took Yi Qingtang to the back of the palace. A huge crystal floated in the sky. It was glistening, and an image appeared. It was the sky that led to the Sky Temple, and Yi Qingtang could see some figures flying up. Stunned, Yi Qingtang could sense that something was wrong. It was obvious that they weren't from the Temple of Paragon. The different flags represented different groups of people. There were many groups that Yi Qingtang had only heard of but hadn't met before. Most of them were the best in the second domain. Even the worst of the bunch were strong powers. Just pick any one of them, and they would be able to easily crush the Crimson League. What was the Temple of Paragon planning to do? "What's going on?" Yi Qingtang asked. "Have you ever heard of our Sky Temple?" Elder Hua answered. Yi Qingtang shook her head. Elder Hua chuckled. "The Sky Temple is an independent palace that was built by our Holy Lord using the power of space. This palace will only appear in the sky during a special period of time, once a year. After today, the Sky Temple will disappear, and no one would be able to find it." Yi Qingtang, "Do you want to guess what the special occasion is?" Elder Hua slowly guided Yi Qingtang towards the news. Yi Qingtang shook her head. Apologies, but she wasn't the reincarnated Holy Lord. There was no way she could recall anything. "It's our Holy Lord's birthday today." Elder Hua's eyes crinkled into a smile. Yi Qingtang was speechless. "You're holding a birthday celebration so many years after your Holy Lord's death? Shouldn't you be celebrating her death anniversary instead?" "Elites from both domains would come to celebrate our Holy Lord's birthday every year. It was only after our Holy Lord's death that the Sky Temple became empty and we no longer had any celebrations." Elder Hua's voice was tinged with disappointment. Yi Qingtang could sense that Elder Hua was insinuating something else. Chapter 2112. Congratulations, 3. Yi Qingtang had seen with her own eyes people from the Temple of Paragon decorating the place as well. She had also seen from the water mirror many clans coming to participate. A sudden sense of foreboding struck her. Could it be what she was thinking? Elder Hua didn't seem to have any intention of saying anything further. The image in the water mirror suddenly changed to focus on the inside of the Sky Temple. There were already many powers gathered in the huge temple, and she spotted someone familiar in the sea of faces. There were a few men dressed in red robes with the wind totem embroidered on their sleeves. The wind sect. She narrowed her eyes as she looked at them. She remembered that in her first life, Yi Yu had worshipped the wind sect and had become a strong empress under their guidance. The wind sect was one of the top powers of the second domain. Even the Crimson League would have to step back when confronted with them. Elder Hua heard her murmur, and her eyes immediately fell on the people from the Wind Sect. In the main hall, they were looking extremely humble and cautious as they saw the other powers. Elder Hua's eyebrows furrowed slightly. The Wind Sect. She tapped gently on the water mirror. The head of the Wind Sect was standing with a few elders by his side in the main hall, all traces of his former arrogance gone. He smiled as he nodded at a few other powers. However, no one seemed to care about them and treated them like they weren't even there. "Sect Master, is it the Buddha of the East Buddha Temple?" came over personally to celebrate the birthday of the Holy Lord of the Temple of Paragon? One of the elders from the Wind sect whispered to another big-bellied elder as he spotted someone in a cassock. It's not just the East Buddha Temple, the North Darkness Pavilion, the Shadow Moon sect. Aren't they all here? The Wind sect elder forced himself to keep calm as he said this, but his words were still laced with emotion. It was the Temple of Paragon, after all. Just the Holy Lord's birthday was enough to draw out the most mysterious and powerful forces of the second domain. It was difficult to even see them usually, but here they were, gathered together. This only demonstrated the esteemed position of the Temple of Paragon. We're just missing those from the Dragon Emperor clan, another elder said. The mainland that the Dragon Emperor clan is on is too far away, and the Temple of Paragon only released this news 7 days ago. Furthermore, the Dragon Emperor clan's position is about the same as the Temple of Paragon, so there's no need for them to be here personally. The Wind sect elders' emotions were in turmoil. They thought that they had just been listed as one of the top powers of the second domain, but this made them realize that any power there could easily oppress them. Just as the Wind sect had determined to forge a good relationship with the Temple of Paragon, a few Temple of Paragon attendants suddenly walked out of the temple and walked over to them. "Please leave at once. You're not on the guest list," the attendant said with a cold face, eyes devoid of emotion. Chapter 21:13 Sea King 1. The words echoed around the main hall as everyone turned to look. Many of them frowned at the sight of the Wind sect. The Wind sect had gotten extremely powerful in the past 1 to 2 years and had barely managed to become a top-tier power. But they were still weaklings compared to the older powers. "We came today to give our well wishes to the Holy Lord on her birthday. If we could just see her," the Wind sect master spoke politely. But before they could even finish their sentence, the attendants lost their patience and kicked them out. Like that, those from the Wind sect were no match for them and were swiftly kicked out. Even the sect elders couldn't defeat them. It was a ridiculous spectacle, but they didn't dare show any anger. They held back their pain and left pathetically. How is it possible that the Wind sect was invited for the Holy Lord's birthday? They invited themselves after all. The North Darkness Pavilion master laughed. Even though the Wind sect was considered one of the top powers now, they were still a far cry from the other powers. How was it possible that they would have caught the attention of the Temple of Paragon? "North Darkness Pavilion Master, I haven't seen you in a while. I heard that you just reached the 10th level of Solitude Palm and haven't had the chance to congratulate you yet," the East Buddha Temple Buddha said with a laugh. "That's nothing compared to the limitless realm you can enter." From the water mirror, Yi Qingtang saw the people from the Wind sect being kicked out like dogs by the Temple of Paragon attendants, and she was filled with a sense of satisfaction. In her previous life, Yi had gotten extremely powerful with the backing of the Wind sect. The Wind sect had gotten extremely powerful, with Yi flaunting her power everywhere, leaving Yi Qingtang with nowhere to run. But in front of the Temple of Paragon, they had been kicked out like vermin, bringing a smile to her face. So this was the difference in their power. While not extremely crowded, the top powers were all gathered in the main hall. Any one of them was enough to destroy the first domain. But they were all kind-faced now, waiting to wish the Temple of Paragon Holy Lord happy birthday. Life was really strange. There were even more powers outside the Sky Temple who didn't even have the qualification to be there. These were just the rules of the world. For the first time in her life, she was experiencing what it was like to be a top power. How terrifying! In her past life, if she had stuck to any of these powers, she would have been able to decimate Yiyu even when she was at her peak. Even the thought itself was exciting. Just when she thought that she had seen all the powers there, a sound came from the main hall. She looked at the water mirror and saw a bright blue light at the Sky Temple entrance. Countless blue waves were coming in from the horizon. It was as though the water was flooding the sky. Everyone in the main hall watched the clear waves calmly. Whoosh, the sound of waves filled everyone's ears. Many members of the Sea Clan were swimming in the waves under the sun. Thousands of sea creatures swirled past them as the clear sound of bells rang out. Chapter 21:14 Sea King 2. All of a sudden, 8 giant sea creatures sprang out of the waves. They were wrapped in gold chains and pulled out from the water, behind them a glowing blue carriage. Everyone's pupils shrank instantly. It's the Sea King's carriage. The Sea King. The Sea King is here. They couldn't believe their eyes. Even though they were all the top powers of the second domain, the sight of the azure carriage made them tremble. The ruler of the seas in 2 domains, millions of sea creatures, the leader of the oceans. It was the Sea King. Swoosh! Riding the rippling blue waves, the sea creatures stopped at the entrance of the main hall. The carriage behind them glowed a brilliant blue, blinding all of them. A figure suddenly flew from the carriage and landed in the middle of the Sky Temple main hall. It was a mammoth blue figure, about 2 times taller than an adult male. He held a golden trident in one hand, gold scales covering his body. "Where is the Holy Lord?" His loud voice boomed out in the main hall. The Sea King. The fox demon, who had already been standing in the main hall, greeted the Sea King politely as he saw him. "Greetings, Sea King. The celebration has yet to start, so may we trouble you to wait a little while?" He gave the attendants a subtle look. An attendant quickly moved a special seat into the main hall. The other attendants moved out of the way and formed a path for the Sea King. No one had any interest in provoking the king of 2 domain seas. No one wanted to die today. But they were all surprised, as the Sea King was elusive and didn't like interacting with people on land. How great was the Paragon Holy Lord that the Sea King had come to personally attend her birthday celebration. Everyone exchanged glances, but didn't dare to do anything in front of the Sea King. All this was seen by Yi Qingtang. She could see the entire room freeze when he had appeared. The Sea King was the power of legends. She hadn't heard of a single person who could befriend the moody Sea Clan in her previous life. She was truly impressed by this Holy Lord. Even the Sea King had come. A long time ago, the Holy Lord made a bet against the Sea King and won. Elder Hua seemed to sense Yi Qingtang's confusion and spoke up. The Sea King lost and had to hand a deity ocean from the Sea Clan over to the Temple of Paragon. Each deity ocean had to be cultivated for a long time by the Sea King to become that powerful, but our Holy Lord had already fallen and missed the agreed timing to meet with the Sea King. After half a year, the Sea King began to have his suspicions and decided to come today. "You're saying that the Sea King suspects that your Holy Lord has already fallen?" Yi Qingtang said. Elder Hua nodded. "He's here now. So you prepared this celebration for him?" she asked. Elder Hua nodded. "I see." Yi Qingtang stopped asking questions. Elder Hua was shocked. "Are you not curious as to why we are doing this? Our Holy Lord has already fallen. Don't you think we should be afraid that the Sea King will find out?" "I'm not curious at all. I'm not a naturally curious person. If there's nothing else, they'll be heading back to the floating island." Yi Qingtang was determined to not fall into Elder Hua's trap. Chapter 21:15. Sea King 3. But Yi Qingtang had underestimated how thick Elder Hua's skin could be. "Since you're curious, he'll explain it to you then," Elder Hua said with a smile. No, she wasn't curious at all. She wanted nothing more than to get out of there. But Elder Hua wasn't giving her a chance at all and quickly continued. "The Sea Clan will want to take back their magical object once they know that our Holy Lord is gone. It doesn't matter if they take it back, but we can't let outsiders find out that our Holy Lord is dead. So we'll need to ask you for your help today. I am sorry, but I want to be able to help. Goodbye." Yi Qingtang interjected before Elder Hua could finish speaking and turned to leave. Don't joke around. She had long since seen through the Temple of Paragon's intentions. Were they crazy? "You're indistinguishable from our Holy Lord. We only need you to make an appearance as the Holy Lord and attend the celebration. As long as you help us with this, we'll make sure to send you back to the first domain safely." Elder Hua stopped her and said in an affable manner, "The Sea King is over there, as well as other top-tier powers. You want me, someone from the first domain, to impersonate the Holy Lord? Do you think I'm an idiot? Or that those people in the main hall are stupid? Of course, we've already considered this. As long as you put on our Holy Lord's clothes, which still have her aura and power, they will not realize," Elder Hua said. "Can I refuse?" Yi Qingtang asked. With a troubled face, Elder Hua said, I'm afraid not. I believed you when you said you weren't the Holy Lord's reincarnation, but many in the temple still harbor suspicions towards you, so they would reveal her true identity if she refused? She had already been in the Temple of Paragon for so many days. They were only suspecting her now? This was obviously a threat. They had calculated all of this from the beginning. I've never interacted with your Holy Lord before, and don't know how she is, so if anything happens, we will take responsibility, Elder Hua quickly said as she saw Yi Qingtang slowly coming around. Yi Qingtang sighed. Could she even reject them? Where are the clothes? She could tell that the Temple of Paragon had already planned this a long time ago. Trying to get herself out of the situation was useless. Joy filled Elder Hua's face as she heard Yi Qingtang's words. She quickly handed over the clothes that she had long prepared in advance. Yi Qingtang looked at the luxurious clothes in front of her. Even though it was covered in dust, the aura left on it was still very strong. With a sigh, she walked into the room with the clothes and changed into them. The fox demon's shadow appeared in the temple as she left. Is everything going well? He asked. Elder Hua nodded. Even though she is reborn, the Holy Lord is as intelligent and can understand the situation right now. Of course, she made the right decision. That's great. You need to tell her about the other things as well, he said. Of course. But, Guardian, if the Holy Lord ever regains her memory and finds out about this, she's not going to be happy. They were practically threatening the Holy Lord. What we're doing today is to placate the Sea King and see if the Holy Lord will regain her memory. She will understand our effort. If the Holy Lord is able to rise to her peak again, it'll gladly be smashed into smithereens after today, the fox demon said. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared in a swirl of robes. Chapter 21:16 Sea Soul Chess 1. Elder Hua let out a sigh. Holy Lord, please forgive us in the future. We did this for your good. In the Sky Temple, the Sea King remained unmoving as he stared ahead. He treated the rest as invisible, as though they didn't exist. When is the Holy Lord coming out? The Sea King got impatient after a short while. Outside the main hall in the sky, various sea clans were invited. The fox demon stepped in front. Our Holy Lord will be coming soon. The Sea King disregarded the fox demon's words and got up. Everyone was shocked at the Sea King's move. The Sea King didn't seem like he was there to convey his well wishes for the Holy Lord's birthday. Right as the Sea King got up, the drum started sounding and a beam of light came down from the top of the Sky Temple, shining on the tallest seat in the temple. As the light shone down, a lithe figure appeared and slowly descended. Sea King, it has been so many years and you are still the same. A beautiful voice was heard. Everyone lifted their heads, looking towards the lady that was surrounded with the light. The lady had an ethereal appearance, with a light surrounding her. Her dress flowed around, and everything just seemed surreal. It was the Paragon Holy Lord. Everyone was shocked, and many quickly stood up. They almost couldn't recall how long it had been since the Paragon Holy Lord last made an appearance. Yi Qingtang took a seat. The corners of her lips slightly lifted into a gentle smile, but her expression was cold at the same time. The fox demon stood in the main hall, watching Yi Qingtang take the main seat. In an instant, he recalled that many years ago, the Paragon Holy Lord also took the main seat and received greetings from everyone. The scenes overlapped, and the fox demon's gaze turned passionate. He thought that they were similar, but now they were identical. Holy Lord, the Sea King's gaze landed on Yi Qingtang as he was feeling slightly suspicious, but he hid it away. He looked at Yi Qingtang with lifted brows. Holy Lord, your memory is not too bad. How could you forget about our date if you've got such a good memory? Yi Qingtang looked around at the entire hall of powers and the domineering Sea King, her heart sinking. Comparing today to the time she had to pose as the Holy Lord of Shadows, this was certainly 1,000 times more exciting. After all, she would die any moment if she made any mistake. It was as if she was walking on thin ice. There was no way Yi Qingtang could get herself out of this. Collecting her frenzied thoughts, She calmed herself down, placing one hand on the armrest. It's only 6 months. Anyway, you're already here. I would never forget about it since it concerns my clan's divine item, C-Clan answered, and he sized the Qingtang up nonchalantly. The Paragon Holy Lord just disappeared, and though it was said that she was in seclusion, the Sea King didn't think the same way. That was precisely why he came today. However, the Sea King remained suspicious, but he didn't spot any abnormality even after observing Yi Qingtang. Chapter 21:17 Sea Soul Chess 2. The Sea King could tell that Yi Qingtang wasn't a clone, neither was she a disguised Holy Lord. There was no way he couldn't spot any of those antics. Could it be that the Paragon Holy Lord really had been in seclusion? Everyone was shocked when they overheard the conversation between the Sea King and Yi Qingtang. From what the Sea King just said, the Sea Clan's divine item was still in the Temple of Paragon. What was going on? Many leaders exchanged glances. They didn't dare say anything in the Sea King's presence. Since you're so concerned about the divine item, why don't you go take a look at it? Yi Qingtang said. The Sea King didn't answer right away. Yi Qingtang was calm and collected. No one could tell what was on her mind. The Fox Demon and the other elders of the Temple of Paragon watched as Yi Qingtang reacted to the Sea King. They were originally worried that Yi Qingtang would perform poorly in front of everyone, but they were relieved. If one didn't know the truth and just witnessed the scene, they would really think that Yi Qingtang was the Holy Lord. She's formidable. She's just an ordinary young lady from the first domain, and yet she's able to deal with the Sea King of both domains. She's doing well. If I hadn't brought her here myself, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Elder Bai watched everything using the water mirror. He somehow felt that Yi Qingtang was the Holy Lord herself. Elder Hua smiled. Elder Bai, you're still suspecting she's not our Holy Lord? You said it yourself. She's from the first domain. Let's not mention the Sea King. Someone from the first domain wouldn't be able to handle just any guest in the main hall. Don't you think that her demeanor and aura are exactly the same as our Holy Lord? Elder Bai's brows furrowed. We need to explore that possibility when we have a few more guardians around. Elder Hua didn't say anything more. The atmosphere within the main hall seemed worrying. Yi Qingtang didn't say a word, and the Sea King remained quiet, and everyone else in the main hall was waiting for them to speak. The entire main hall fell into a dead silence. After a while, the Sea King spoke with raised brows. We don't have to rush things. It's your birthday today. I must convey my well wishes first. Right after the Sea King said that, huge waves suddenly appeared outside the palace. A huge chest rode on the waves and landed in the main hall. There is no need for you to do that. It's the thought that counts, Yi Qingtang said. The Sea King replied, I'm sure you'll be satisfied with this gift. The Sea King then lifted one arm and the chest burst open. When the chest opened, there was a bestial roar coming from inside as mist enshrouded the main hall. As the mist moved around, it formed into illusionary beasts that filled the main hall. Everyone was shocked to see the illusionary beasts, their gazes riveted to the chest. But the chest had already disappeared and a chessboard replaced it. It floated in midair. The chessboard was a piece of art. The mist surrounding the chessboard continued evolving, as though there were countless beasts hidden among the mist. They could hear the groans of the beasts clearly. Chapter 21:18 Sea Soul Chess 3 Sea Soul Chess. The North Darkness Pavilion Master uttered in shock when he saw the mysterious chessboard. North Darkness Pavilion Master, what is that? The North Darkness Pavilion Master's eyes were still filled with admiration, but he said slowly, Legend has said that the Sea Soul chessboard was created by a god and contains everything in the world. No one has ever seen it before, and I've only seen it in a tattered book before. I heard that to play Sea Soul chess, one not only has to have great skills at chess, but also enough power to control the entire game. But there are no pieces on the board, another master said. The Sea Soul chess is a collection of many souls and is a legend. I've only seen it illustrated once only and have never seen the real thing, so am not sure, the North Darkness Pavilion Master said with a sigh. The Sea Soul chessboard was a divine item and had faded into the stuff of legends when the god had vanished. He had not expected to see the real thing at the Paragon Holy Lord's birthday celebration. He hadn't made this trip in vain after all. Apart from the North Darkness Pavilion Master, many other people recognized the Sea Soul chessboard as well, and their expressions mirrored his. The Sea King was probably the only person within the two domains who would dare to take it out. Anyone was lucky to have witnessed this. However, everyone was wondering why the Sea King was giving such a precious item to someone else. This was too generous of him. But the Fox Demon's eyes flashed, and he frowned slightly when he saw the Sea Soul chessboard. He hadn't expected the Sea King to make such a move. Yi Qingdang had never seen or heard of the Sea Soul chessboard before, but she could tell that it was important from everyone else's reactions. Regardless, she didn't know much about the relationship between the Sea King and the Paragon Holy Lord. Was their relationship this good? She remained still, gazing at the Sea Soul chessboard. A look of belligerence flashed past his face, and he looked at Yi Qingdang. All those years ago, you and I played this in the sea, and I lost by just one move, so I had to give you a divine item from the Sea Clan as per our agreement. Do you remember? Yi Qingdang nodded. I destroyed that board in anger. For the past few years, I've sent thousands of Sea Clan members off to find a second set, and was lucky to finally find one a year ago. With that, he suddenly raised his hand and swept it gently across the chessboard. Beautiful crystal chess pieces appeared on the empty board. There were 36 pieces each on both sides. Each piece was unique and modeled after ancient creatures and was extremely lifelike. But as his arm came down, the chess pieces shifted into different positions on the board, making it look like a half-played game. That year, you trapped me with a certain move. I agonized over it for many years before I finally found a way out of it. I brought this set today to ask if you have any interest in finishing this match with me. The Sea King raised his eyes, which were filled with provocation. Chapter 2119, Chess Game 1. Yi Qingdang was speechless. What the hell? She knew that nothing good was going to come out of this day. Not only had the Sea King come to test her identity, but he had also come with his grudge from losing to the Paragon Holy Lord all those years ago. He wanted to take advantage of the fact that so many powers were here to redeem himself. Yi Qingdang was struck speechless for a moment. Her gaze brushed past the Fox Demon, and his solemn expression made her feel even worse. It seemed like even the Temple of Paragon had not anticipated that the Sea King would find a second set of Sea Soul chess. You seem very excited. What do you want to bet this time? She said calmly. We'll use the Sea Clan's divine item as a wager again. If you win, it can remain in the Temple of Paragon. If I win, you'll return it to me. It was then that she finally understood that he still couldn't forget his divine item. He said that he was here to celebrate her birthday, but he wasn't going to just give her a present so easily. Should she take up the bet? If it was up to her, she was extremely unwilling, since she didn't even know what Sea Soul chess was. However, she was thrown into a difficult position right now. The real Paragon would not have refused. That meant she would be exposed if she didn't agree. But there would be no chance of her winning if she did. At this moment, she wasn't the only one feeling conflicted. The Fox Demon and the others were worried as well. They had never expected the Sea King to do something like that. Sea Soul chess was extremely complicated and required a lot of strength. It wasn't something for ordinary people. Even though the Fox Demon thought that Yi Qingdang was the reincarnation of the Holy Lord, she had lost all her memories. So how could she even understand the Sea Soul chess? The anticipation for a battle spread across the room as the powers realized what was going on. No wonder the Sea King had brought so many people today. He had already planned for this. Yi Qingdang guessed that there was no way she was going to get out of this today. The Sea King was unafraid of the Temple of Paragon's power. With a huge number of Sea Clan members outside, if she refused him today, this celebration was going to become a battle. Since you're so excited, I will play one game with you, she said slowly. The people from the Temple of Paragon were all stunned to hear this. Elder Bay's face sank as well. What is she doing? She doesn't even know how to play Sea Soul chess. This is preposterous. Elder Bay's face was dark. If she lost, the divine item was going to be taken away by the Sea King. Elder Hua Hua said, "What else was she supposed to do? Look at the numbers of the Sea Clan are outside now. With the Sea King's arrogant personality, he's going to declare war on us if she refuses." Even though she was surprised at her accepting the match, Elder Hua couldn't help but feel emotional. The Holy Lord was still the Holy Lord. After all, not fearing any challenge. She was the same even after losing her memories. Little did they know that Yi Qingtang had only agreed because she was not the Holy Lord and the divine item wasn't hers. The Temple of Paragon had said that they would take responsibility for anything that happened after all. So there was nothing she really had to fear. At most, she would only lose to the Sea King. Chapter 21-20 Chess Game 2. The Temple of Paragon would once again think that she was the reincarnation of the Holy Lord and wouldn't kill her. If she didn't agree to it, the Sea King would get suspicious and take the opportunity to attack them. With her strength, she probably wasn't going to leave the place alive. So she had no choice but to do this. This so-called birthday celebration turned out to be a trap. It seemed that her reply satisfied the Sea King. He laughed uproariously and gestured for her to start the match. Having no other choice, she flew over to the Sea Soul chess. She hadn't felt anything thus far, but as she neared the board, she could feel a strong force slowly surging out from it. This force pulled her slowly into the game. "We will continue our original match. You can't let all those years I spent scrutinizing your move go to waste," the Sea King said. The eyes of the different powers at present all shifted to Yi Qingtang and the Sea King. They had never seen Sea Soul chess before and had only heard rumors of it, so they were all extremely excited. But the Fox Demon didn't look reassured at all. Seeing that the matter was already set, he didn't say anything else and merely gave those from the Temple of Paragon a look. The Temple of Paragon attendants and elders all quickly walked out of the main hall. What is the Temple of Paragon doing? The other powers were all extremely curious when they saw them walk out. Even Elder Hua and Elder Bai walked out. Everyone was confused. The Sea King didn't notice at all. All he was focused on was his past humiliation. "He'll make the first move," the Sea King said in a low voice as he picked up a chess piece and moved it across the board. The audience was merely looking on in anticipation without feeling anything different. But as the Sea King put down his piece, a wave of energy surged outwards. In that instant, rays of light shot out from the Sky Temple as countless clouds erupted from it. The entire Sky Temple was quickly filled with clouds and light. The entire place seemed to be enveloped in illusions as countless divine beasts burst forth. The huge figures filled the entire main hall with piercing screams that made everyone's heads feel like bursting. One of the members of the powers present who did not have enough cultivation exclaimed as he coughed out blood. Even the masters of the other powers felt the attack. "We can't watch this match." In an instant, they realized that this Sea Soul chess match was not something someone like them could witness. The energy that gushed out with every move was enough to eradicate all those below the Holy Venerate level. Even the more powerful masters felt uncomfortable. Their curiosity towards the Sea Soul chess all vanished within a second. Now, they understood why the Temple of Paragon people had all left the main hall. The masters of each power quickly brought their members out of the main hall. They had only made one move, and the effect was already so strong. Who knew what more terrifying things would happen if they stayed? Chapter 21-21 Chess Game 3. The demons and others didn't react much when they saw those who were previously spectating walk out of the room. They were all focused on Yi Qingtang. Once a match of Sea Soul chess started, every move would unleash a wave of ancient power. Only those who were powerful enough could withstand it. If one was careless, it could easily lead to their minds breaking under the attack. They were extremely worried about whether Yi Qingtang could hold out. It came as a surprise when they saw her standing in front of the Sea King. They had known that her mental strength was better than ordinary people, so had let her try it out, but Didn't she look too accustomed to this? She showed no signs of pain at all. If she was pretending, she was doing a great job. Or was it just that the Holy Lord's energy hadn't disappeared in her successor? The demon and elders exchanged glances as hope filled their eyes. Could the Holy Lord regain her memories under the provocation of the Sea Soul chess? In the main hall, Yi Qingtang thought it was strange that people were rushing out. What was wrong with them? She had felt a wave of mental energy rush out when the Sea King made his move, but before she could even react, it had been absorbed by a force within her body. It was the deity ocean. She could feel the deity ocean absorbing the wave of energy, which was why she was unharmed. Inwardly, she wiped the cold sweat off herself as she watched people leave. These were all top-tier powers who couldn't even withstand the force. If not for the deity ocean, her mind would have been shattered when the Sea King made his move. She had been too careless. How was my move? The Sea King had long since familiarized himself with the Sea Soul chess and was nonchalant. He knew that the Holy Lord was one of the few who could play this with him, so naturally did not think that she would react to the rush of energy. But the truth was different. Yi Qingtang sighed and repressed her shock, turning her gaze to the piece that the Sea King had moved. She was speechless. She couldn't understand it all. There were 72 pieces in the shape of beasts in total between the two of them on the board, but she couldn't tell what the rules were. How did someone win? Or lose? She was utterly confused, and no one could explain it to her now. Not bad, she said with pretense. The Sea King was satisfied. The year they had their previous match, the Holy Lord had sealed off all the paths that his pawns could take with one move. He had agonized for so many years before overcoming her move. He had turned the game around with one move and revived his pawns. It was Yi Qingtang's path which was sealed now. It's your turn. Please make your move, he said with a smile. She felt helpless as she looked at his satisfied expression. Then, she would move however she liked. From the beginning, she was already prepared to lose anyway. She had already tried her best. The Temple of Paragon couldn't hold that against her. So she calmed herself down and swept her gaze over the chessboard. Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Nine Heaven Tortoise, Unicorn, Phoenix, and Sky Dragon. The different figures appeared in her sight one by one. She could only go with her instinct and pick the White Tiger. It looked a lot like a grown-up little white tiger. It'll choose you. Chapter 21-22. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. 1. A look of surprise flashed across the eyes of the Sea King when he saw Yi Qingtang lift the white tiger chess piece. Before he had much chance to ponder, Yi Qingtang had already made her move. A golden light shot out from the white tiger chess piece on the chessboard. Lit by golden light, the fog in the inside of the temple instantly dispelled. The roars of a tiger echoed as if a tiger was descending from the mountains. The roars were so formidable that they shook the mountains and rivers. A massive white tiger shape, draped in tens of thousands of golden rays, appeared in the Sky Temple. It pounced out from behind Yi Qingtang toward the Sea King. The Sea King stared at the massive white tiger shape with narrowed eyes. After the light faded a little, he finally managed to get a clear view of the situation on the chessboard. The Sea King's arrogant expression turned into shock at what he saw. How did this happen? The Sea King frowned. His confidence wavered. Yi Qingtang, what was going on? The Sea King's expression became increasingly grave. Many years had passed since he had last fallen into a trap set by the Holy Lord on the chessboard. He had expended a lot of brain power over it before finally solving to break out of the trap. But now, the Sea King was feeling the similar oppressive aura of imminent death. He scanned the chessboard with sharp eyes, mapping out every possible move. There appeared to be many ways out, but every single way would lead to a pre-planned death trap. One wrong move would lead to even more wrong moves. For a moment, the Sea King had no idea what to do. The tables had turned once again. No matter which moves he made next, Yi Qingtang would have the ability to checkmate him. It looked like he still had a chance, but there was actually none left. Suddenly, the Sea King's eyes narrowed. The Holy Lord's chess skills are still as formidable as before, the Sea King said solemnly. Yi Qingtang was rather stunned by the Sea King's deflated expression. She scanned the chessboard in front of her in complete befuddlement. She had no idea what was happening. She didn't even know the basic rules of the game. Her earlier move was pure guesswork. She had liked the appearance of that white tiger chess piece, and so had chosen to move it forward. But what was the meaning behind the Sea King's expression? I concede. The Sea King knew that he was unable to resolve his dilemma on the board and decided to concede. Yi Qingtang smiled, but she was utterly confused on the inside. Within these two domains, only you and I have chess skills of this level. Today, I can give you this sea soul chess without any regret. In the future, after I figure out the solution to this chess game, we will pit our skills against each other again. With that, the Sea King opened his hand, and his trident, which had been floating nearby, flew to his hand. He turned and walked over to the tightly shut door. The Sea Soul chessboard seemed to sense that the opponent had left and withdrawn its aura. The visions in the temple disappeared without a trace. Yi Qingtang stared incredulously after the Sea King's departing profile, all the way until the Sea King arrived before the tightly closed door. His figure wavered a little before disappearing. It was almost like a dream. She had won. Yi Qingtang looked at the empty temple before looking at the Sea Soul chessboard in front of her. She had actually defeated the ruler of the two ocean domains, the Sea King. This feeling was so confusing. The crowd waiting outside the Sky Temple was staring fixedly at the locked door. They were extremely curious about what was happening inside. Chapter 21-23. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, too. The expressions on the Fox Demon and other Temple of Paragon people had turned grave as they waited outside the temple. They had no idea what was happening inside the temple. Although they knew that Yi Qingtang's mental energy was better than an average person's, they dared not vouch that Yi Qingtang would be able to withstand the Sea Soul chessboard's attack. Guardian, would we really have to return the Sea Clan's divine item to the Sea King if she loses? Elderby spoke with a hint of reluctance. If so, of course we have to return it. The Fox Demon replied. Whether or not she is the reincarnation of the Holy Lord, it will be verified in time. If she ends up losing the Holy Lord's item because of a moment of carelessness, but as of now, she is still the Holy Lord. The Fox Demon spoke meaningfully. Elderby knew that this was definitely not the right time to expose Yi Qingtang's identity. Now that they had reached this stage, they had no choice but to keep quiet and see through things to the end. Just as everyone was waiting, a figure suddenly appeared at the temple doors. It's the Sea King. Elder Hua's heart jumped when he saw that it was the Sea King. Even if Yi Qingtang was able to hold against the Sea Soul chessboard attack, she had no idea what the rules of the Sea Soul chess were. How would she be able to compete against someone with such exemplary chess skills like the Sea King? In the entire world, only the Holy Lord was able to defeat the Sea King. Not much time had passed, but the Sea King had already emerged from the temple. A deep sense of foreboding arose in their hearts. Elderby frowned and exchanged looks with the Fox Demon. They decided to keep still and silent for the moment. The rest of the spectators also didn't make any noise on seeing the Sea King emerge. The Sea King stood outside the Sky Temple. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on him. The Sea King lifted his head emotionlessly. He looked at the clear waves above his head and the countless members of the Sea Clan. Suddenly, the Sea King laughed heartily. Amazing, really amazing. Since the Holy Lord went into seclusion, I have not had such a great game of chess with anyone. I have finally fulfilled this desire. The Sea King's cheerful laughter was like a hammer pounding upon the hearts of the elders of the Temple of Paragon. They were doomed. Yi Qingtang must have lost. Otherwise, why else would the Sea King be so happy? The other leaders naturally had the same line of thinking. But just as everyone came to this conclusion, the Sea King suddenly turned his gaze toward those of the Temple of Paragon. Quietly, the Fox Demon took a deep breath and stepped forward. Sea King, please wait for a minute. I will send our servants to retrieve the Sea Clan divine item now. The Sea King nodded in satisfaction. The Fox Demon's eyes dimmed. Indeed, The faces of the Temple of Paragon elders also turned slightly grim. But on such a public stage, they had no choice but to put up a false front of calm. Make haste and retrieve the item. I have to return to sea immediately after I reactivate it. Everyone was stunned by the Sea King's words. What was going on? The dullness in the Fox Demon's eyes was replaced by a flash of shock. The Sea King was talking about reactivating and not bringing it back? Could it be? An outrageous notion appeared in everyone's minds. But they did not dare to believe it. Why are you still standing there in a daze? I have things to do. In the future, if your holy lord forgets the time in reactivating this divine item, I won't be so nice as to personally come here again. The Sea King sounded annoyed when he noticed that the Fox Demon and the others remained still. Chapter 21-24. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. 3. The Fox Demon gave a start. The Sea King's words had revealed an important piece of information. If the Sea Clan's divine item still belonged to the Temple of Paragon, did this mean that Enchanting had won? The Fox Demon was shocked by this realization. Did she even know what Sea Soul Chess was? To think that she had one nonetheless? Oh yes, tell your holy lord that this Sea Soul Chess set is the last in the 2 domains. Today, I lost to her by 1 move, and it will remain with her. But she must treat it well. I will challenge her again in the future. The eyes of the Fox Demon nearly popped out in astonishment. Enchanting defeated the Sea King. How in the world was that possible? Yes, I will inform the holy lord of your message. The Fox Demon maintained a calm and polite outward demeanor, even as its heart was trembling from shock. Meanwhile, the Temple of Paragon elders was filled with all sorts of emotions. The other leaders felt that it was just par for course whether the Sea King and the Holy Lord won the chess match. Only the Temple of Paragon elders knew that the person inside the Sky Temple now was not the Holy Lord from that time. This was probably the first time she had laid eyes on the Sea Soul Chess. Having mentally prepared themselves for the loss of the Sea Clan's divine item, the elders felt very conflicted. Shocked, yet delighted. The Fox Demon had a servant hand the Sea Clan's divine item to the Sea King, before going over to join the rest standing at the side, keeping watch over the tightly closed temple door. They wanted to enter the Sky Temple now and ask Enchanting what the hell had happened. How did she manage to win? But with so many other people at present, they had no choice but to remain calm. The Sea Clan's divine item had to be reactivated in seawater. As a result, the Sea King brought the divine item into the waves and used his own power to cultivate over it. Meanwhile, the rest of the crowd was in no hurry. Seeing that the doors remained shut, they started to take in the surrounding scenery. In contrast, Elder Hua kept glancing at the temple door. Could it be that Enchanting had no idea how to open the temple door? Or had she been scared to death? Or perhaps she had recovered some of her past lives' memories? The more Elder Hua thought about it, the more excited she became and couldn't wait to dash into the temple. After a long time, the Sea Clan's divine item was successfully reactivated and returned to the Fox Demon. The Sea Clan then left with his people. The Fox Demon ordered the servants to secure the divine item properly, before leading the rest to the temple doors, all prepared to open it and ask Enchanting what happened. Still, the other spectators had yet to leave. They were waiting to offer their well wishes to the Holy Lord. But when the Fox Demon and gang opened the temple doors, there was no one inside the large temple. There was just that Sea Soul chess set left, right, in the middle of the temple. As for Enchanting, she had already disappeared without a trace. The Fox Demon's face changed. Where did she go? The Fox Demon felt that something was not quite right. But as the other leaders were still present, it could not say anything. Instead, the Fox Demon had Elder Hua and the rest manage the affairs inside the temple, while he found an excuse to venture deeper into the temple to look for Enchanting. However, even though the Fox Demon searched the entire Sky Temple, it didn't find any traces of Enchanting. All it found was the wide-open back door of the temple, as well as a pile of the Holy Lord's luxurious clothing. Clothes that Enchanting should have been wearing. Where is she? Elder Hua hurried over and saw the same sight. Gone. The fox demon took a deep breath. Elder Hua, when did she leave? Chapter 2125, Netherworld Academy. 1. Why didn't you close this back door after you brought her to this temple? The fox demon's voice was icy. Elder Hua was speechless. How was she to know that Yi Qingtang would escape? Immediately send some men to find her. Yes. By the time the Temple of Paragon realized that Yi Qingtang had gone missing, she had already disappeared without a trace from the Sky Temple. At this moment, she was hiding in a dense forest about 100 miles away from the Sky Temple. She finally stopped for a break after making sure that she had fled far enough. After the Sea King left, Yi Qingtang had secretly eavesdropped on the situation outside. After hearing that the Sea King was going to reactivate the Sea Clan's divine item there, and then, Yi Qingtang knew that her chance to escape had come. Taking advantage of the time during which the Sea King was reactivating the item, Yi Qingtang made her way over to the back door, which she had already discovered earlier. She then slipped out and disappeared without a trace. Luckily, the Sea King had brought over a large entourage of the Sea Clan, and there was a lot of commotion created by the reactivation. Because of that, her escape had gone undetected. I'm finally free. Yi Qingtang heaved a sigh of relief. But she didn't remain idle. Taking out a set of men's clothes from her space ring, she set them aside. The Temple of Paragon would realize that she had escaped, and she didn't want to be captured again and undergo their attempts to determine whether she was the Holy Lord's reincarnation. Yi Qingtang changed her appearance and put on some men's clothing. She specially altered her appearance to look more mature and no longer glowed with youth. Instead, she looked like a handsome youth in his 20s. After changing her appearance, Yi Qingtang's state of mind also shifted. She was suddenly brought to the second domain, and things had happened that were beyond her expectations. But the little lightning dragon's resurrection made her realize that the people from the first mainland had already been revived. At least this was a major burden lifted off her heart. Now, the heart of the heavenly Tao inside her was showing subtle signs of reviving, and the divine phoenix seal was nearly gone. Her most pressing need now was to find out why this heart of the heavenly Tao existed in her body. And the only one who could answer all that was probably that mother whom she had never met. Yi Qingtang thought about the Dragon Emperor clan. She had to find that clan to seek out traces of her mother. This was the only way to solve the mystery behind the heart of the heavenly Tao. However, Yi Qingtang had a big problem. The storm surrounding the mainland was not something that she could penetrate. Unless she devoted herself to cultivation for a few more years, there was no way she could pass through safely. She might even be discovered by the Temple of Paragon in the middle of her attempt, and there was no doubt they would recapture her. Yi Qingtang did not have that much time. The divine phoenix eel would only hold on for at most a few more months. Suddenly, Yi Qingtang thought of something which she had heard in her previous life. Between the second domain and the various mainlands, some people could pass through the storms. Not everyone could pass through those storms, but there were always people who needed to travel between the mainlands. In such cases, there were quite several powers who would dispatch strong practitioners to lead the way. Many academies would make use of a special artifact called the wind-calming pearl to pass through dangerous regions. But these wind-calming pearls were very rare. Only the top academies in the various mainlands possessed them. Even so, their numbers were very sparse. If she could get her hands on a wind-calming pearl, that meant she could leave this mainland. Yi Qingtang's thoughts started to become clearer. Memories from her past life surfaced in her mind, containing all the information about this mainland. According to those memories, several academies on this mainland had the wind-calming pearl. Chapter 2126, Netherworld Academy. 2. The relations between the mainlands and the second domain were not like those in the first domain. And within the second domain, the total population of the alien races had already surpassed the number of humans. No matter which mainland one was in, one could see many alien race people. The academies here did not discriminate amongst the races. Anyone could enroll as long as one had the talent. A massive academy sat atop the mountain range. The Netherworld Academy. The Netherworld Academy was renowned in the mainland. It had groomed many famous, powerful practitioners. It was no exaggeration to say that all the talented youths on this mainland wished to enroll in academies like the Netherworld Academy to better their martial arts. Every year during this period, the Netherworld Academy would open its doors to new students. The expansive mountain range was already crowded with youths who had come to seek admission. Most of them were accompanied by elders from their family clans. They had all come forth to participate in the Netherworld Academy's enrollment exercise. The Netherworld Academy had very strict admission requirements. They only accepted students in their teens. Also, they had very stringent requirements regarding cultivation levels. If a potential student could not reach their required level, regardless of how powerful their background was, they would still be rejected. Nonetheless, the Netherworld Academy had the right to impose such strict standards. Every single one of the Netherworld Academy graduates had become exceptional practitioners. A slender figure stood amongst the crowded masses, looking very quiet and refined, yet different from the other prodigies. He was alone and submerged in the sea of people. No one would notice his presence. Enchanting weaved through the masses and looked at the crowded gates of the Netherworld Academy. She observed a gang of energetic youths, confidently walking up to take part in the test, and decided to follow them. In her previous life, Enchanting only heard some rumors regarding the Netherworld Academy. This time, she had set her sights on this academy for two reasons. One was because the timing was just right. The second was because an institution of the Netherworld Academy's level would have a decent number of wind-calming pearls. Consequently, it would be less difficult for her to obtain a pearl. However, when Enchanting arrived at the Netherworld Academy and observed the youths who had come to seek admission, she finally realized why the academy was so renowned across the mainland. These youths were at most 15 to 16 years of age, but their aura was at least Paragon 5th Heaven level and above. There were even some who had already reached Paragon 9th Heaven levels. If this was the first domain, they would be considered top of the top practitioners. But these freakishly powerful young talents might not even be able to pass the Netherworld Academy's admission exercise. One could just imagine the disparity between the two domains. Enchanting had believed that with her own Paragon-level abilities, it would be a piece of cake to enter the Netherworld Academy. But now it appeared that things would be somewhat challenging. One couldn't blame Enchanting. She had come to the second domain in her previous life, but had never entered any of the academies here. She was still rather unfamiliar with the situation here. Enchanting was prepared to reassess her situation when a youth dressed in a Netherworld Academy uniform sauntered over from the front of the crowds. The youth looked like in his 20s and exuded an extremely formidable aura. His sharp eyes scanned the crowd of youths who had come for the admission exercise, as if wanting to see through them. Chapter 21-27 Netherworld Academy 3. When the youth stood in front of Enchanting, he sized her up impassively before speaking. You can go back." The youth's words attracted the attention of the other youths in his group. They looked toward Enchanting and saw a skinny youth in his 20s. They were speechless. The Netherworld Academy had an age limit for their students. The skinny youth in front of them was already over the age limit. Unless he had mind-blowing talents, the Netherworld Academy would never accept him. The youths at present were all very powerful. Most of them were at higher levels than Enchanting. That was why they could see at one glance that Enchanting, she was at most only at the Paragon 6th Heaven level. Someone at the Paragon 6th Heaven level might be able to scrape past the minimum criteria, but this was already the baseline requirement for a youth in his teens. And this person was already past the age limit. A person of this age and only at the Paragon 6th Heaven level practitioner. It was a right joke that he wished to enter the Netherworld Academy. It was good in no one's place. A pity that he didn't. "Leave. You do not fit the admission requirements of my academy." The youth spoke without any attempt at politeness. There had been many unqualified people who had come forth to seek admission in the past. Most of them would quietly leave after being singled out. But this person remained unmoving and he lost his patience. But I didn't come to participate in the admission exercise, Yi Qingtang replied pleasantly. The youth frowned at Yi Qingtang's words. Why are you standing here then? Are you here to make trouble? Gazing steadily at the impatient youth, Yi Qingtang replied, I am here to apply to be a teacher. Everyone was dumbstruck by Yi Qingtang's words. Their condescending expressions instantly changed to shock. It was as if they were looking at a mad person. What did you say? The youth thought he must have misheard. I am here to apply to be a teacher. Yi Qingtang repeated. After observing the youths who had come to enroll in the Netherworld Academy, Yi Qingtang had changed her plan. If she couldn't be a student, she would be a teacher then. PFFFDT. Someone in the crowd couldn't hold back his laughter. More laughter soon followed, and all the surrounding youths ended up in fits of laughter. The sounds of laughter spread across the crowd. The youth's face instantly became very stern. I think you are here to make trouble. If you refuse to leave, I will have no choice but to use force. The youth frowned even deeper. Teacher? Was he dreaming? He wasn't even qualified to be a Netherworld Academy student, yet he wanted to be a teacher. This was probably the greatest joke he had ever heard in his life. Wah, so formidable. This brother has ambition. Not bad. I think he must have drunk too much last night and is still suffering from a hangover. One of the youths guffawed. Yi Qingtang's words were like a drunkard's. Brother, you can do it. I support you. Ha! A bunch of youths laughed uproariously. They didn't expect to encounter such entertainment while waiting in line. The world was so big, nothing was impossible. Chapter 2128, Netherworld Academy. For a Paragon-level practitioner who wanted to be a teacher to those who were at higher levels. This person was either mad or just plain stupid. I don't think you have much hope of becoming a teacher. Brother, if you really want to enter the Netherworld Academy, I suggest another route for you. The Academy also recruits servants every year, so you can go try your luck over there. I'm sure you can do it. The bunch of youths made all sorts of jibes, treating the whole situation like a right joke. The youth from the Netherworld Academy looked increasingly grim. He had never met someone who was so unaware of his place. The commotion attracted the attention of many others. Suddenly, a middle-aged man in a long robe emerged from the crowd. The laughing youths immediately fell silent at the sight of that man. Those youths looked at the middle-aged man with respect and awe. What's going on? A baritone voice rang out. The youth instantly wiped the impatient expression off his face when he saw the middle-aged man. He went forward and cupped his fists respectfully. Teacher Dinua, this person is here to make trouble. He said that he wants to apply to be a teacher at Netherworld Academy. Dinua frowned as he looked at the frail-looking Yi Qingtang, and a look of annoyance flashed across his eyes. You want to apply to be a teacher? Yes. Yi Qingtang nodded. The surrounding youths didn't say anything but ridicule flashed across their eyes. This was Teacher Dinua. He was one of the most reputable teachers in the Netherworld Academy. Many students who specialized in martial arts fought for the chance to be under him. What qualifications do you have to be a teacher? Your cultivation level is not even as high as many of our students. How can you be a teacher like that? Please leave now, and I will take it that you were never here. The Netherworld Academy is not a place where one can just come and make trouble, Dinua said impatiently. If not for the fact that there were many other people around, he would have already flung this ignorant fool off the mountain. There was no way he would tolerate this kid here making wild claims. To be a teacher, cultivation level is just one of the factors. It is not the absolute end-all be-all. Yi Qingtang spoke calmly. Whispering sounds spread across the crowd. Dinua never expected this youth to be so ignorant. Seeing the reaction of the crowd, there was no way he would let others witness such a disrespectful incident right outside the gates of the Netherworld Academy. If you want to apply to be a teacher, please follow me. If you don't have the skills to back up your claims, don't blame me for being nasty. To avoid creating an unpleasant scene in public, Dinua decided to lead this person away first. Otherwise, if anything bad happened, it might affect the reputation of the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qingtang nodded on seeing that she now had a way in. She followed Dinua over to the teacher application area in the Netherworld Academy. Those youths in the queue continued to smile mockingly at the sight of Yi Qingtang following Di Nuo. I will bet a bottle of elixir that this brother will be tossed down the hill within an hour. An hour? You think too highly of him. Which of the Netherworld Academy teachers are not elite practitioners? This impudent fellow is only at the Paragon level. If his application is successful, I will cut off my own head and let you kick it around like a football. I bet that he would be chased out in just a few minutes. And what's that about cultivation level being just one of the factors? If powers are not the absolute end-all be-all, what are we all here for? Ridiculous. The group of youths chattered on, but they soon forgot about that incident. Compared to that unimportant scene, they were more focused on their upcoming admission exercise. Chapter 21-29, Netherworld Academy 5. After all, only by passing this admission test would they be able to officially become students of the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qingtang and Di Nuo arrived at another entrance at the academy. It was empty, unlike the previous teeming crowds. You need to come here if you wish to apply to be a teacher, Di Nuo said in a solemn voice. Do you know why there's no one around? Yi Qingtang shook her head. Because the Netherworld Academy will only accept those who are powerful enough to be teachers. Those who are not powerful enough have no right and no confidence of stepping onto our grounds. Di Nuo's tone was mild, with a sliver of arrogance. Of course, Yi Qingtang heard the underlying sarcasm in Di Nuo's words, mocking her lack of self-awareness. But she did not care about that. All was fine as long as she could enter the Netherworld Academy to get the wind-calming pearl. An elder sat in front of a table inside the room. Another middle-aged man was standing at the side, discussing something with him. Vice President, this cultivation method can strengthen one's foundations, but is no longer suitable for people above the age of 15 to practice, said the middle-aged man. This cultivation method was created by a great nascent cultivator and has been passed down for many years. But it has always been practiced by children below the age of 10 to establish their foundations. Although there are benefits to this cultivation method, it is no longer suitable for our students at this age. As they continued their discussion, they suddenly heard footsteps. The middle-aged man lifted his head and saw Di Nuo with Yi Qingtang following behind. Astonishment flashed across his eyes. Di Nuo, this is Teacher Luo. This person wants to apply to be a teacher at our Netherworld Academy, Di Nuo replied. Teacher Luo was taken aback. He stared at Yi Qingtang with obvious shock. With his abilities, he could naturally sense Yi Qingtang's cultivation level. At this level, there was no way she could even become a student, much less a teacher. Is this a joke? We're discussing cultivation methods and have no time to humor people like that. Please have him leave immediately. Teacher Luo spoke up impatiently. The elder in front of the table didn't even lift his head. He continued to study the remnants of a book on the table. Di Nuo turned to look at Yi Qingtang, indicating that she could get lost now. Since Yi Qingtang managed to make her way in, there was no way she would give up on her goal to enter the Netherworld Academy. Scanning her eyes across the table, she saw that there were many cultivation books on the table. Before Di Nuo managed to chase her away, she hastily spoke up. You're studying the Doric cultivation method? The middle-aged man was taken aback by Yi Qingtang's words, and he frowned. That's right. The Doric cultivation method was created by a great nascent cultivator. But he only left behind an incomplete book, and so this cultivation method is only suitable for those aged 10 and below. No one is able to continue practicing this beyond that age. The middle-aged man and Di Nuo stared at Yi Qingtang. They felt that she was just speaking nonsense. Who the hell didn't know that the Doric cultivation method was only meant for children? Actually, it is possible for those above the age of 10 to practice this, but they would have to make adjustments. For practitioners below the age of 10, they can use this method to train the physical body. But in reality, the Doric cultivation method is meant for internal cultivation. You just need to find out how to adjust it for internal cultivation. Once you do, you will no longer be restricted by age, Yi Qingtang explained. Chapter 21:30, A disparity of 300 years. 1. The middle-aged man was taken aback by Yi Qingtang's words. The elder also slowly lifted his head and saw for the first time the youthful-looking, frail young man. How did you know that the Doric cultivation method is meant for internal cultivation? The elder asked in a slightly raspy voice. The Doric cultivation method had been in the second domain for a long time. It was no longer a new, remarkable technique, and everyone knew it was only suitable for children below the age of 10 to practice. But to this day, no one knew that it was meant for internal cultivation. Even for them, they only discovered some clues hinting at this after studying this method for a long time. Where did this youth come from, and how did he know that? The Doric cultivation method has many cultivation techniques, but because the records are incomplete, no one has been able to understand most of them. But actually, it is not difficult to adjust the techniques. Yi Qingtang piped up. Kid, you are making a very big claim there. Not difficult? Do you know that we only have half of the Doric cultivation method records left? Many of the techniques have been lost because of that. You are claiming that it is not difficult. Don't tell me you know how to make the records complete. The middle-aged man was annoyed by Yi Qingtang's words. Heaven knew how much time he had wasted studying this incomplete cultivation method. I do. Yi Qingtang responded frankly. The middle-aged man nearly fainted from anger at Yi Qingtang's arrogant words. Before he could speak up again, the elder cut in. Ow! Yi Qingtang replied. The great nascent cultivator left behind quite a number of cultivation methods, including many foundation techniques. His cultivation methods all follow a similar pattern. You just need to analyze the missing portions of the Doric cultivation method, and then use the basic concepts of his other techniques to fill in the blanks. The three men all looked rather dubious when they heard what Yi Qingtang said. Ignoring their reaction, Yi Qingtang walked up to the table. She picked up a piece of paper and pen. Di Nuo looked annoyed and wanted to stop Yi Qingtang's transgression. But the elder shot Di Nuo a look, warning him not to interfere. Following her memories from her past life from 300 years into the future, she scribbled down the missing parts of the Doric cultivation method. In reality, this Doric cultivation method was already being studied by powerful practitioners in the second domain. But at least 100 years would pass before they would realize that they could use another cultivation method to fill in the blanks of the Doric cultivation method. Yi Qingtang soon wrote out a portion of the missing parts and displayed her work on the table. Wasting no time, the elders studied the paper. The middle-aged man also glanced at her work dubiously, but amazement flashed across their eyes as they continued to read. It should be pointed out that they had already studied this cultivation method for decades, but made little headway. It could be said that no one in the second domain knew more about this cultivation method than them. And so the moment they looked over Yi Qingtang's writings, they immediately felt like a veil was being lifted from their eyes. The Doric cultivation method is useful, but it is not irreplaceable. There are many foundational cultivation methods now that have certain drawbacks. There is no need to separate internal cultivation and spiritual cultivation. Using your internal energy to boost the refinement of your mental energy, it would be faster this way. Yi Qingtang continued to explain as she watched the astonished expressions of the three men. Although she may not be confident about other things, she was certain that the number of foundational cultivation methods 300 years into the future would definitely surpass those in the present times. Chapter 2131. A disparity of 300 years too. These foundational techniques didn't seem like much, but they would affect the future increase in cultivation levels. The higher one's cultivation level was, the more influence it would have. So in 300 years, because of a change in martial arts and the emergence of powerful practitioners, the increase in cultivation levels in the future was much higher than in this present period. The elder and the middle-aged man exchanged glances. They both saw the unusual glint in each other's eyes. Nodding slightly at the middle-aged man, the latter took up another book from the table as he looked at Yi Qingtang. Do you have a good understanding of foundation techniques? Yi Qingtang nodded. Then do you know about the heavenly mental cultivation technique? The middle-aged man asked. The heavenly mental cultivation technique was a foundational mental cultivation technique that could establish a very stable foundation in cultivators and could also be used as a long-term cultivation technique. When practiced to advanced levels, it would also offer much higher protection against mental demons. However, this heavenly mental cultivation technique required a lot of time to practice, and it did not do much to increase one's cultivation levels. As a result, many powerful practitioners gave up practicing it after some time. I am aware. Yi Qingtang nodded. What opinion do you have about the heavenly mental cultivation technique? The middle-aged man's tone subconsciously became much more warm and polite. The practice of the heavenly mental cultivation technique is very cumbersome now. In reality, you only need to familiarize yourself with the first 3 steps and then specialize in the final 3 steps. This can greatly shorten the time spent, Yi Qingtang explained. The middle-aged man was taken aback. A look of sudden understanding also flashed across the elder's eyes. Following that, they asked Yi Qingtang about a few other foundational cultivation techniques and methods. Yi Qingtang did not hold back and explained everything. She had suggestions for improvement for all of them. For some, she even recommended a complete revamp. For these things, some other people might not understand how apt her suggestions were. But the elder and the middle-aged man knew very well, as they had been studying these methods for a long time. The more foundation-focused a cultivation technique was, the greater its future influence. It was something that would follow the practitioner for a long time, and they could afford to make no mistakes. Time and experience were needed for one to fully grasp these things. If they had not personally heard it, none of them would believe that this simple-sounding, yet profound explanation was being spouted from the lips of a young man in his early 20s. Di Nuo had been ready to chase Yi Qingtang away. But the other two were hanging on to her every word, their discussion getting increasingly excited. Di Nuo couldn't help feeling astonished. As he specialized in martial arts, he did not know the key aspects of these foundational cultivation methods. He was unable to follow the discussion and didn't feel that Yi Qingtang was saying anything important. So why did those two have such expressions on their faces? As the discussion progressed, mixed emotions appeared on the faces of the elder and middle-aged man. Yi Qingtang had resolved many of their doubts, and unresolved questions accumulated over many years. This kid's understanding of the foundation cultivation techniques was even deeper than theirs. What's your name? The elder suddenly lifted his eyes to look at Yi Qingtang. His expression was friendly and cordial now. I am Yi Qing. To make things simple, Yi Qingtang just cut off one syllabus from her real name. The younger generation is indeed our future. The elder gave a small smile. You want to become a teacher at our Netherworld Academy? Yi Qingtang nodded. Luo Sheng, make the arrangements for her. The elder instructed. Di Nuo was dumbstruck by the elder's words. What was he saying? Was the elder accepting this kid's application to become a teacher? Chapter 2132. A disparity of 300 years 3. The middle-aged man, Luo Sheng, nodded. When he looked at Yi Qingtang, there was no longer any impatience in his eyes. Instead, they were filled with an approving light. This kid might not be that powerful, but this level of understanding of cultivation techniques was a rare talent. If they used her method to teach, they might be able to bring about some positive changes to the Netherworld Academy. Yi Qingtang heaved a secret sigh of relief. It appeared that she had made the right decision. She might not be that powerful, but her knowledge of martial arts garnered 300 years into the future definitely surpassed the current understanding. It should be no problem at all for her to handle. After all, the knowledge she possessed had been tested and refined by countless strong practitioners over 300 years. Luo Sheng left with Yi Qingtang. As they passed by Di Nuo, he looked somewhat awkward. His sarcastic words toward Yi Qingtang earlier were now like a slap thrown right back at his own face. He could hardly believe that this piece of trash was able to become a teacher at the Netherworld Academy. But the truth of the matter had his confidence shattered after Luo Sheng and Yi Qingtang left. Di Nuo could no longer hold back. Vice President, Are you really going to allow him to become a teacher at the Netherworld Academy? The elder sitting in front of the table was indeed the vice president of the Netherworld Academy. When she nodded. He might not be that powerful, but his understanding of martial art techniques is extraordinary. I have never seen such an advanced level of understanding in anyone else before. When she looked very pleased as he explained, Dinua's face turned somewhat grim, but he did not dare to express too much displeasure in front of Wen Qi. Vice President, please allow me to say this. This kid's powers are too lousy. If he becomes a teacher at the Netherworld Academy, I'm afraid we would be subject to criticism from some others. His presence would make the Netherworld Academy a laughingstock. Anyway, he was just talking about some foundational techniques. No one knows whether or not it will work and what kind of results would be achieved. You cannot risk our reputation just because he has made some bold claims. Dinu really couldn't tolerate having someone of Yi Qingtang's cultivation level present as a teacher. The thought of having to be a teacher together with a piece of trash like that, he felt that was a major disgrace. The Netherworld Academy was the top academy in the mainland. Every single teacher here was an exemplary practitioner. Any one of them could easily become a top fighter. Of course, Wen Qi had considered this point, but Yi Qingtang's words had truly amazed him. This is only a temporary situation. I need to observe and test him over some time. If he is found to be lacking, he will not become a true teacher at our academy. At that, Dinua heaved a sigh of relief. If Vice President wants to test if his methods are effective, you can pick a few students for him to mentor as a trial. Dinua suddenly suggested. That is possible. When she nodded, you can pick the students. I will have Luo Sheng observe. He will manage the situation if anything happens. When she was just hiring Yi Qingtang to try out some new methods. He always believed that foundational techniques were very important to one's cultivation. That was why he paid close attention to this. It was just that foundational techniques were typically ingrained over a long period of time, making it very difficult to introduce any improvements. Yi Qingtang's appearance gave Wen Qi an opportunity to try something new. Chapter 2133, Brats 1. Okay, I'll arrange for it now. Dinua's eyes shifted around before he left. Soon after, Dinua found the youth who was busy outside. When a youth heard that Yi Qing had permission from the vice president to enter the Netherworld Academy, he was stunned. Teacher Dinua, how is he even fit to become a teacher at the Netherworld Academy? Are you joking? The youth wasn't supportive, and his expression was filled with discontent. This Yi Qing's arrival was bound to diminish the prestige of the Netherworld Academy. The vice president has already decided. As for how long she can stay at the Netherworld Academy, we don't know yet. Bring Qin Feng, Lei Yin, and the others over. He will be in charge of them. Dinua pointed out a few names. The youth's expression suddenly changed when those students were pointed out. Teacher Dinua, you're handing Qin Feng and the rest to Yi Qing? Dinua nodded. Aren't Qin Feng and the others going to be expelled from the academy next year? It's precisely because of that, so we will hand them over to Yi Qing. Did you really think that he'll let the students receive such lousy guidance from him? Dinua said. The youth instantly understood what Dinua meant, and he went to look for them. On the other hand, Yi Qingtang had her own study room after being brought into the Netherworld Academy. She wasn't in a rush at all. So long as she entered the Netherworld Academy, she would surely stand a chance to lay her hands on the wind-calming pearl. She didn't care about anything other than that. Teacher Luo, I heard that the Netherworld Academy makes its way to the eastward mainland every year. Yi Qingtang asked Luo Sheng curiously. The eastward mainland wasn't too far away from the mainland she was at. However, if she wanted to leave the mainland, she would need to use the wind-calming pearl. Yes, the eastward mainland is one of the mainlands with the most flourishing martial arts culture in the second domain. Luo Sheng didn't think too much about Yi Qing's question and just answered. The Netherworld Academy would select an elite group of students every year, and the teachers would bring them to the eastward mainland to attend a competition with the other academies. These students had to be the cream of the crop, while the teachers guiding them along would accompany them there. Yi Qingtang had an idea once she heard those words. The wind-calming pearl was one of the treasures of the Netherworld Academy. Though the Netherworld Academy had more wind-calming pearls than other academies, it was still considered a limited supply. It would normally be under the president's possession, and only when there are competitions then the president would distribute them among the teachers accompanying the students. This was the only opportunity for Yi Qingtang to use the wind-calming pearl to leave the mainland. However, she had to make sure that she could actually groom someone who would attend the competition. That was the least of her worries. Those who could enter the Netherworld Academy would have enough capabilities and talent. Other than that, if Yi Qingtang were to use the martial arts knowledge from 300 years ago on the students, there would be a multiplier effect. Right when Yi Qingtang was thinking about it, a youth came to look for her. Yi Qingtang had met him before. It was the youth who tried to chase her away when they were outside of the academy earlier. The youth entered the room and bowed at Luo Sheng. The vice president has given an order. Teacher, you could try to guide these students along first. Chapter 2134, Brats 2. Luo Sheng nodded as he agreed to the vice president's decision. He was satisfied with Yi Qing's unique understanding of martial arts foundations, but the youth wasn't powerful enough, and that worried him. He had to be careful when using him. Which students? Luo Sheng asked. The youth didn't dare hide anything. He reported the few students that were pointed out by Di Nua. Luo Sheng's brows suddenly furrowed when he heard those names. Were they chosen by the vice president? Luo Sheng asked. The youth replied, the vice president allowed teacher Di Nua to make the decision. They were chosen by teacher Di Nua. Luo Sheng's brows furrowed even more. He could already sense that Di Nua wasn't too pleased with Yi Qing's arrival. Got it. Get them to wait at the East Campus. Luo Sheng waved his hand before he turned to Yi Qing. I have some other matters to handle. Go to the East Campus first and meet the students. They may be a little weird, but since you're only guiding them along for the foundation of their martial art, there shouldn't be any problem. It was obvious that Luo Sheng didn't feel confident saying those words. Yi Qingtang watched as Luo Sheng spoke hesitantly. Hearing that those students were chosen by Di Nua, she could already sense something was off. She could sense that teacher Di Nua wasn't going to give her any good students. It didn't matter anyway, so Yi Qingtang wasn't bothered. She was confident in herself. However, when she headed to the East Campus, she realized that she had underestimated teacher Di Nua. In a huge classroom, there were only a few students seated. The classroom was spacious enough to accommodate 100 students, but there were only 6 students in there. There were 5 males and 1 female. It seemed they were around 16 to 17 years old. They were supposed to be students, but looking at their demeanor. What the hell is this? When are they going to stop bothering us? I was asleep, and they wanted me to come to this place? A tall and handsome youth was obviously annoyed. He stepped on the table with one leg and behaved as though he was a king. The teachers wanted us to come, so did. A thin youth with a hunchback answered the tall youth. Terror was written all over his already pale face. Did I even ask you? Who are you to talk? Get lost. I'm disgusted just looking at your face. How the hell did you even enter the Netherworld Academy without a pure bloodline? The tall youth didn't give a damn and glared at the thin youth. The thin youth was terrified. He took a few steps back, in fear that the tall youth would beat him. Young Master Lei Yin is acting like a big shot here. This isn't the martial branch. None of your lackeys are here with you. You'd better behave yourself before you get punched. No one will help you when that happens. A smiley youth warned the tall and arrogant youth. Nangong Lai, is your skin itching? My skin is not itching, but my fists are. Is young Master Lei going to stop my itch? Lei Yin and Nangong Lai were almost going to start a fight, and the thin youth was horrified. He went completely pale. This was the scene Yi Qingtang witnessed once she stepped into the classroom. The corners of her mouth twitched, and she didn't say a thing. She merely proceeded to sit on a chair at the side. Chapter 2135, Brats 3. At this point, everyone's attention was focused on Nangong Lai and Lei Yin. No one noticed the sudden appearance of an additional person. Stop it, both of you. I heard that a new teacher is coming to teach us today. He will be here any moment now. A pale, handsome teenager spoke, the hint of a smile at the corners of his lips. But that pallid complexion looked rather worrying. Another dumb teacher. Who cares? I'm not afraid of him. Lei Yin sneered, putting on a bullying stance. In response, the handsome teenager smiled, but kept silent. Eyes scanning the room, he saw a petite girl sitting in the corner. She appeared to be only about 12 to 13 years old and was sitting there quietly, a tattered-looking patchwork cloth doll in her arms. Apart from her, there was another figure sleeping on the table in the back row of the classroom. After analyzing the group, she realized that there was no one normal in here. But as he looked toward the front, he realized that a refined-looking, slender youth had suddenly appeared and was sitting on a chair near the door. Lei Yin, stop talking to this fool. Let's finish our fight. Nangong Lai continued to challenge him. There was no way Lei Yin would tolerate such provocation. He flung his sleeves and charged forward to fight him. Meanwhile, Yi Qingtang sat there with her chin propped up on one hand, watching these two impulsive teenagers about to engage in a fight. She then glanced down at the booklet in her other hand, ignoring the ruckus. Nangong Lai and Lei Yin started fighting, the classroom filled with their boisterous movements. But before long, Lei Yin was pressed onto the floor by Nangong Lai. He was already seeing stars from the vicious beating, but he refused to beg for mercy. Instead, he cursed Nangong Lai and all his ancestors. Lei Yin, I would shut up if I were you. This mouth of yours is so useless. All it has done is to gain you a few more punches. Nangong Lai chortled as he sat on Lei Yin's belly. Every time Lei Yin cursed at him, he would give him a punch in return. He showed him no mercy at all. Nangong Lai, just you wait and see. I will gather some men to kill you. Ooh, I'm so scared. Nangong Lai laughed out loud before giving him another vicious punch. Seeing that the fight had gone on long enough, Yi Qingtang finally stood up and walked to the front of the classroom. Are you done fighting? The others in the classroom snapped out of their trance at the sudden new voice. Apart from the teenager who had noticed Yi Qingtang earlier, this was the first time that the rest of them had noticed the arrival of this nondescript youth. When did this guy arrive? Let me introduce myself. I am Yi Qing, your teacher from now on. Yi Qingtang grinned, acting as if the unruly scene before her was completely normal. Yi Qing. I've never heard of you before. When did the Netherworld Academy hire a new teacher? Nangong Lai looked very suspicious. Taking advantage of this situation, Lei Yin scrambled to his feet. He was behaving himself now and didn't continue his fight with Nangong Lai. Greetings, teacher Yi Qing. I am Yin Shun. The pale, handsome teenager spoke up first. He bowed politely toward Yi Qingtang, looking very respectful. I am Jing Zhe. The timid teenager also spoke up in a trembling voice. Chapter 2136. Good Boy 1. Jing Zhe. Yi Qingtang was taken aback when she heard the name. She recalled the name Jing Zhe from her past life memories 300 years into the future. But the Yun Mian Palace Master. He was an evil man who murdered many people. This boy before her, Yi Qingtang seriously suspected that they just happened to have the same name. Apart from those two, the others ignored Yi Qingtang and went about their own matters. In both her previous and current life, Yi Qingtang had stayed in her fair share of academies and sections. She had seen many strange disciples and students before, but they were considered normal compared to these few in front of her. Teacher Yi Qing, he is Nangong Lai and that is Lei Yin. As for this little girl, her name should be Mu Ziying, and that guy over there is Qin Feng. Yunshin saw that the rest were remaining silent, and so good-naturedly introduced them all. Yi Qingtang had heard about these few earlier, but now that she was seeing them in person, she still couldn't help feeling somewhat shocked, especially Qin Feng, who remained sprawled motionless at the back. A conflicted glint appeared in Yi Qingtang's eyes. Qin Feng was a disciple from the Qin family, and Yi Qingtang had ties with the Qin family. She remembered meeting the sword of destruction deity Qinzhua at the Cursed Land. Qinzhua belonged to the Qin family, and before he went missing, The Qin family was considered one of the most powerful family clans in the second domain. But with the disappearance of Qin Zhua and the Sword of Destruction, the Qin family lost their high standing and tumbled down the ranks. It was all thanks to Qin Zhua's advice that Yi Qingtang was able to leave the Cursed Land. Otherwise, she would probably still be there living out a wretched life. Yi Qingtang instinctively stroked her space ring. Before leaving, Qin Zhua had handed the Sword of Destruction to her. He wanted her to hand it over to a descendant of the Qin family. But she had no idea whether Qin Feng's branch of the Qin family was the same as Qin Zhua's. I say, Teacher Yi, your cultivation level doesn't look that high. Nangong Lai spoke up in a lazy manner. He was smiling, but that smile failed to reach his eyes. That's right. I'm only at the Paragon's 6th heaven level, Yi Qingtang replied. She had improved her powers during this period of time, but her current level was still considered nothing in the second domain. Several of the teenagers shot her strange looks. Lei Yan's face instantly turned black. What the hell? Why did the Netherworld Academy assign such a piece of trash to teach us? Paragon, 6th heaven level? A teacher? What kind of joke is this? Lei Yan was furious. In the entire Netherworld Academy, apart from the teachers at the medicine faculty, none of the other teachers were at the Paragon level. But they were now assigned a Paragon 6th heaven level teacher. Surely this must be a joke. Nangong Lai's smile widened as he folded his hands behind his head. 6th heaven level. Excuse me, Teacher Yi, but I'm slightly higher than you, so I won't be listening to your teachings. I will take my leave first. With that, Nangong Lai started to leave. The others in the classroom didn't speak, but they likewise looked prepared to leave. Even the good-natured Yinshun had also started to make his way out. Within seconds, only Yi Qingtang and the stuttering Jingzhe were left in the classroom. Teacher, Jingzhe remained standing there obediently as he looked at Yi Qingtang in fear. Yi Qingtang watched the departing profiles of those teenagers impassively. It was fine, there was still one left. Chapter 2137. Good boy, too. Well then, let's begin the lesson now. Yi Qingtang grinned at Jingzhe, who was standing alone in front of her. Jingzhe gave a small start before nodding his head. He obediently sat down and looked at Yi Qingtang with a compliant expression. Looking at this good boy and recalling that notorious evil man from 300 years into the future, Yi Qingtang couldn't help feeling somewhat incredulous. Are you at the Paragon's 6th heaven level? Yi Qingtang asked Jingzhe. Jingzhe nodded timidly. What is your bloodline? Yi Qingtang asked. In the second domain, spirit roots were already completely ineffective. The true crux was bloodline. The higher quality one's bloodline was, the higher one's chance was of becoming very powerful. In academies like the Netherworld Academy, nearly everyone came from a powerful bloodline. I don't have a bloodline. Jingzhe lowered his head and mumbled. Yi Qingtang was taken aback. You don't have a bloodline? Yes. Jingzhe's voice became even softer. It doesn't matter. Countless strong practitioners in this world still manage to achieve high status even without a bloodline. Yi Qingtang tried to console him. She really couldn't bear to say anything that would upset this obedient teenager. Jingzhe raised his head in amazement. He looked at the youth who was even shorter than himself. Teacher Yi, you are truly a good person. Yi Qingtang, what did she do to suddenly become a good person? I just managed to scrape past the entry requirements when I first enrolled in the Netherworld Academy. I was already a Paragon 6th heaven level then, but failed to make any progress even after so many years here. All the teachers think that I am useless. Firstly, it's because I have no bloodline. Secondly, it looks like my cultivation level is already stagnant. Before today, a teacher told me that if I don't improve my cultivation level soon, I will be kicked out of the Netherworld Academy. Jingzhe clasped his hands together as he lowered his head and spoke in a small voice. After all, he was not a disciple from any notable family and didn't have the support of some great clan. He was just from a normal family and had worked hard for every single one of his own achievements. But after coming to the Netherworld Academy, the stagnation of his skills had him dropping into a deep abyss. He was ridiculed by everyone, and his already introverted character turned even more timid. Yi Qingtang couldn't help sighing at Jing Ze's words. She recalled how her former self lost her spirit root and ended up in a similar situation. It was common for the cultivation levels of some to stop after reaching a certain stage. Some practitioners would forever remain at a certain level without any progress. Don't worry, I will not let you get kicked out of the academy. Yi Qingtang looked at Jing Ze. Jing Ze lifted his head and gazed at Yi Qingtang with sparkling eyes. It was like he had seen his final chance at life. All the teachers had already given up on him. He himself had been resigned to his fate. What martial arts did you practice before? Tell me about them all. Yi Qingtang spoke seriously. Logically, Jing Ze was still young, and his cultivation level should not be fixed so soon. Yi Qingtang believed that there must be a problem somewhere. So Jing Ze obediently told Yi Qingtang about all the martial arts that he had practiced before. As Yi Qingtang listened, she couldn't detect anything wrong. She then had Jing Ze circulate his energy as she tried to analyze his internal energy. Yi Qingtang discovered something strange during her analysis. She could clearly feel that Jing Ze possessed a huge amount of spirit energy inside him. But it seemed like the spirit energy was being restrained by something. It was as if... Chapter 2138. Good Boy 3. While Yi Qingtang was analyzing Jing Ze, her devouring bloodline was suddenly triggered. The moment her devouring bloodline was triggered, Yi Qingtang felt that some energy was gradually being awakened inside Jing Ze's body. It was the power of a bloodline. Yi Qingtang could feel that very clearly, and she was startled by this discovery. I thought you don't have a bloodline? Yi Qingtang asked. Huh? Jing Ze was taken aback. Yi Qingtang stared at Jing Ze. Some bloodlines will not emerge right after birth. They need a certain external trigger to be awakened. I detected a very mysterious bloodline aura inside your body just now. I think that you might have a bloodline, but that it is more special and needs to be activated. This kind of situation was quite rare. But 300 years into the future, there would be many different ways to awaken a bloodline. Do you wish to activate your bloodline? Yi Qingtang asked. Dazed, Jing Ze immediately nodded at her question. Yes. Yi Qingtang smiled. It is not an easy task. At the very least, you will have to relearn all your martial arts foundation techniques. 300 years into the future, many family clans would have their descendants practice a special kind of technique from a young age to avoid having a bloodline remain dormant. This kind of technique was very complicated, but as long as one practiced it properly, any kind of bloodline could be awakened. This was common knowledge in the future. But at this present time, practitioners had yet to discover this technique. Yi Qingtang told Jing Ze about the technique to activate his bloodline. Jing Ze listened very attentively. He was worried about missing out on a single word. Yi Qingtang observed Jing Ze's studious manner and couldn't help feeling rather satisfied. No matter what kind of bloodline this good boy had, as long as they awakened it, it would be a great help to his current situation. In addition, if Yi Qingtang told him about all those martial art techniques from 300 years into the future, she believed that he would improve even further. What Yi Qingtang didn't know was that her current actions had changed Jing Ze's destiny completely. And after Jing Ze's bloodline was awakened, she would be the one who would be the most shocked. Teaching Jing Ze was like a revision exercise for Yi Qingtang herself. When she was in the first domain, she had faced danger from all sides and could not concentrate on cultivating. Now that she was in the Netherworld Academy and teaching Jing Ze, she could also try all those cultivation techniques which she didn't get the chance to try in her previous life. Perhaps it might bring about a major boost to her abilities. As Yi Qingtang and Jing Ze worked on the cultivation of their martial art, those teenagers who had left the classroom seemed oblivious to what was happening. Even if the Netherworld Academy wants to chase us out, they don't have to stoop to such low tactics, right? What kind of teacher is that? A paragon, 6th heaven level? What a joke. Lei Yin ranted angrily. In reality, few of them were on the Netherworld Academy's blacklist. If things went on as they were, This group would soon be kicked out of the academy. Why has Jing Zhe not come out? Don't tell me he is really going to listen to that punk? Nangong Lai scanned the group and realized that Jing Zhe had stayed behind. Jing Zhe is a piece of trash himself. There's nothing wrong with him being with another trash. The two of them complement each other. Lei Yin yawned. A figure walked past him, and his expression shifted. Chapter 2139. Indignant. 1. Qin Feng was strolling past with an expressionless face. Even with Lei Yan's character, he became more subdued on seeing Qin Feng. He only recovered his usual bluster after Qin Feng left. I find it very strange. Why was Qin Feng also pushed over to that Yi Qing? Lei Yan was truly surprised to see Qin Feng. After all, Qin Feng was not mediocre like the rest of this group. Qin Feng was a famous prodigy. I really don't know what this academy is thinking. Lei Yan muttered to himself. Seeing that no one was paying him any heed, he turned to leave. Over the next few days, Jing Zhe alone stayed by Yi Qingtang's side day after day, obediently listening to her teachings. It was Yi Qingtang's first time teaching someone martial arts. She found it rather refreshing, and faced with an obedient student like Jing Zhe, she did not hold back on any information. As a result, for the first time since she was reborn, Yi Qingtang finally experienced the disparity in the standard of martial arts, now compared to 300 years into the future. On top of learning from Yi Qingtang every day, Jing Zhe also had to go to the other faculties for classes. When Jing Zhe was not around, Yi Qingtang would try out the martial art techniques she recalled from her past life, and make adjustments to her own cultivation methods. Because of little Yu Yun, a substantial amount of spiritual abode energy was infused into Yi Qingtang's body, but she had never fully refined it for use. Now was a good opportunity to gradually refine and absorb that infused energy into her body. Teacher Yi, shall I go and ask them to return? After a few consecutive days of being together, Jing Zhe finally dared to speak more freely in front of Yi Qingtang. Initially, even Jing Zhe felt somewhat disheartened after knowing Yi Qingtang's cultivation level. He believed that the academy had given up all hope on him, and so assigned such a lousy teacher on him just to humor him. But Jing Zhe's opinion changed after their first discussion. And after the past few days of continuous guidance from Yi Qingtang, Jing Zhe could clearly feel a sliver of movement in his formerly stagnant power level. Jing Zhe was so excited about this that he couldn't fall asleep for a few nights in a row. Teacher Yi's cultivation level was not high, but she was definitely the best teacher he had ever met in his life. Not only that, her understanding of martial arts was an eye-opener. Yi Qingtang lifted her head at Jing Zhe's words. Over the past few days, apart from Jing Zhe, the other students completely ignored her. As if sensing Yi Qingtang's doubts, Jing Zhe lowered his head bashfully. Teacher Yi, you are better than any teacher I have ever met. Lei Yin and the rest, they misunderstood you. Their talents are higher than mine, and if they return and receive your guidance, they will definitely gain even more significant improvements. Yi Qingtang couldn't help smiling sadly. She had seen plenty of foolish people, but she had never met someone as foolish as him. It was not enough that he was benefiting. He wanted to help the others around him too. He was truly naive. Jing Zhe didn't know what Yi Qingtang was thinking, and he continued. Teacher Yi, actually, I already know that I will be kicked out of the academy soon. In reality, Lei Yin and the rest will suffer the same fate. Yi Qingtang was taken aback. What was he saying? Chapter 2140. Indignant. 2. Jing Zhe started to explain. Lei Yin, he is the young master of the Lei Tang family. However, he was 11 or 12 years old before he finally returned to the Lei Tang family. To be honest, Jing Zhe's abilities were considered the worst amongst the group. But Lei Yin was not much better than him. If the two of them got into a real fight, no one could be sure who would win. Jing Zhe came from a normal family and didn't have the support of a major clan. Lei Yin was different. But even under the careful grooming of the Lei Tang family, Lei Yan's abilities were still mediocre. It was lamentable. Regardless, Lei Yin appeared oblivious to his lack of abilities. There were quite a number of Lei Tang family disciples in the Netherworld Academy. Leveraging upon his status as the young master of the family, Lei Yin strutted around campus with his group of family disciples, showing off his authority. But in reality, no one held any sort of regard for him. Yi Qingtang did not know much about the others, and so listened to Jing's narration. Yin Shun had pretty good innate talent, but his physical body was weak. His body was unable to withstand overly powerful forces, and so his cultivation progress was being dragged down. As for Nangang Lai, he was a skirt chaser and put all his focus on picking up pretty girls. Previously, he was nearly kicked out of the Netherworld Academy after he tried to pick up the granddaughter of one of the faculty heads. Teacher Yi, tell me, has it ever happened that someone was born with extremely high innate talents, so high that he was touted as a prodigy, but thereafter went on to be mediocre, and his abilities even seemed to decrease? Jingze suddenly raised this query after having thought of something. The world is big and wide. Nothing is impossible. This situation can be rather common. Why? Have you met someone like that? Jingze hesitated before continuing. Teacher Yi, you should have already noticed that every single one of us in this group suffers from some kind of constraint on our powers and innate talents. I don't have a bloodline. Lei Yin missed out on the prime time to cultivate. Yin Shun has a weak body, while Nangang Lai is just unable to focus on cultivation. But Qin Feng, he is different. Oh, Jingze explained. Qin Feng is very powerful. Long before he entered the Netherworld Academy, he was so powerful that people were afraid of him. He already reached the Paragon 8th heaven level by the time he was 10 years old. When he was first admitted into the Netherworld Academy, he was just about to break through to the Divine Lord level. Qin Feng was a true prodigy. He had garnered much attention when he first stepped foot into the Netherworld Academy. Everyone knew that with Qin Feng's innate talent, it wouldn't be long before he broke through to the Divine Lord level. Even in an esteemed place like the Netherworld Academy, he was considered a top student. But unexpectedly, this famous prodigy fell off his pedestal not long after entering the Netherworld Academy. Over the past few years, Qin Feng's powers showed no signs of progress. Instead, they started to decline at an astonishing speed. He was already at the Paragon 10th heaven level when he first entered the Netherworld Academy. But now he had regressed to the Paragon 8th heaven level. He had gone back to the standard he possessed when he was 10 years old. Surprise flashed across Yi Qingtang's eyes at Jing's narration. This Qin Feng, his regression was too rapid. Yi Qingtang could vaguely guess the reason why the Netherworld Academy wanted to kick Qin Feng out of the school. After all, the Netherworld Academy was a top academy and expected its students to become more powerful. But a prodigy like Qin Feng ended up regressing after entering the academy. This was a major blow to the Netherworld Academy, and they would never allow this blemish to remain in their school. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.